And now, for your off-grid viewing pleasure, the kitty just put a little present in, didn't you? Maybe it's a good thing that you can't see it properly. It's alright, bud. You keep eating him. Still red. Yeah, she's grilling her own kitten. The kitten's playing with the tail. The thing's already dead. The kitten's trying to play with the tail, and there she's eating it. It's alright. I only kicked a newspaper. I'm going to freak out now. These kittens are not exactly toilet trained, which is really starting to piss me off. Anyway, I just picked up a couple, and I'm just going to put on a glove and give it a wipe with hydrogen peroxide wipes. Not the sort of stuff you want to touch barehanded and reload the bowl that they keep pulling the lumps of meat and fat out of. Gee, they go through this stuff quickly. I am sort of just putting out as much as they want. You tabby cat. You be nice to those little kittens. He gets a bit savage, and I cracked the shits with him the other day. Because he bit one, I think. And it wasn't flaming. They go to play with him, and he flipping beats them back about 4 times as bad, which is not good. Anyway, we had our little disagreement about that, didn't we? Anyway, I've got another load of scrap metal, which I might show you guys. Not as big this time, but I've got to get going and take that in. Yeah. Not going to do it. They're doing the funny meow before they... Well, not meow, but the growl and the chew at the same time. They go through the lungs pretty quick. The mince takes a while, but not the lungs. Too much air in it. Like eating polystyrene. Anyway, I forgot to show you guys. I've got in another load of scrap metal, as I was saying, but I don't think you guys are really going to worry too much about seeing another pile of junk in the back of the trailer. You can just take my word for it. This time I just drove on past. I didn't even flame and bother getting the money. I just drove out and gave him a blast with the horn and just kept going. What was I got to get, 50 cents or something? Like it was so pathetically low, the amount of metal I had anyway. It was probably only about 100 kilos, which is about 220 pounds. And I mean, you know, that's probably quite literally 50 cents. You know, let them have it. Anyway, good news. Welfare has been approved. It's a bit of a process, but I've sort of been through it a few times now, especially since the GFC. Well, I've been through it a lot of times in the past because I was a lazy bastard in my early 20s. So yeah, anyway, we went and got the car, which you've seen it a million times, and it just looks a hell of a lot brighter now because of the fact I also bought some turtle wax and polished it and got a latch and gave it a wash, got the latching off, and then gave it a good polish. And yeah, it's like a hard shell polish stuff that's supposed to last for 12 months, which I should have been putting on a long time back, basically, because some parts of the car, well, you know, it's not really due to the latching entirely, although it isn't helping it, but it's just the paint's getting a bit old and starting to get slightly powdery. It hasn't completely turned to crap yet, but it's going to go that way. The bonnet and the front left fender aren't, because of the little roo prang that I had when I'd only had it for a few weeks. They got resprayed in the panel beater and they're all fine, but I polished them as well anyway. Don't have the white powder coming off. It's just a sign of paint going old, basically, or getting old. Anyways, I've got to force myself to do some damn lunch boxes and other dishes, otherwise I'll never get done. And yeah, I'll be going to Chinese New Year next week, early next week. My mum reckons it's on Sunday. The internet says Monday is the day, but I don't know if that's like the first day of the year or what, but I want to find out when the exact big celebrations are and go to that, which is not very far off at all, only a few days. I'm probably ready to get a sheet of plaster that my father's got and get it inside on that wall. I've done the polystyrene in, so trouble is they're a bit busy for the next couple of days, so yeah, I might have to do that after Chinese New Year or something, or I might get it over here on the Saturday if it doesn't rain. That'll work out. Yeah, I don't think there's a great deal more to talk about. Tomatoes are really starting to ripen, those two. I'm just starting to wait for the rest of them to go. It's, oh, you beauty. This one here is starting to get a bit of colour in it. Hell, it looks more colourful on the screen here than it does in real life. That one there and that one there are getting closer to needing picking. It's always cold still. Like, it's blooming overcast as yesterday, and it kept raining on and off, and then finally the sun come out. But even now, still overcast. It was cold last night. I lit the fire up last night, the wood heater. Yeah, I'm trying to get rolling, doing a lot of the random little bits and pieces around here. I'm going to try to today get off my ass and get the what's his name, the hot water system sorted, because there's a basically, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I think the big IBC, not the IBC, the document tub is leaking just when you fill it up to full. And I've got a box that can just run it direct off the overhead tank. So I'm going to try and put that in today and see how we go. And I might drain the old tank out and get it off the top and piss it off out of there. And that may become one of the document storage tubs that I throw stuff into. There's a big stack of tubs there, you can see. But I've got to start jamming some of these things into around here. A couple of little bits and pieces I've got to throw out too, and I'll get those in a minute. Got these cheap disposable gloves, $2 for like 100. They're really rubbishy things. They're like blooming plastic out of thin plastic bags. But when little things go and leave, well, it was actually that one went and left some rat guts on the bloody floor the other day. Come inside with another rat and left the intestines there, and so I had to pick them up. But you know, I don't really like just picking them up with a blooming bit of paper toweling. I like to have a glove on as well. And then she saw me moving it. She thought she'd help by doing the old scrape on the bare floor thing, like she's putting stuff over it, and almost smeared some of the blooming intestinal contents onto the floor. But anyway, the floor become clean again. But these little kitties are going through the food very fast. I mean, it's not just lungs either. With mince, usually it takes them a long time to go through, and there's just so many of them that we're going through it quite fast. I mean, I'm feeding them as they, eat it, which means they're not restricted with the amount they can eat, because I just keep chucking it out, but they're going through it mighty fast. So anyway, I've got to go over and get some more. The lungs go real quick and the mince takes a little bit longer, but all the same, we ain't going to need that freezer for a great deal longer. Cookies. I forgot to mention something. That water pump that I've been mentioning, we actually got into the thing. Oh geez. Looking at it, it's probably made in the early 90s, so, straight up we're probably 25-year-old motor we're talking about here. The quality of the thing is just shit. It's one of these ones where, it's an American-made Briggs & Stratton, and it's about as glorious as the $100 American-made chainsaws. Or I said Chinese chainsaws, because that's sort of pretty much the quality. This thing's one of the ones that's got a tiny muffler on it, and you start it up and it might reach industrial standards of 1991 for noise emissions, but that'll be about it. We haven't got it running yet, but I can tell by the kind of muffler on it, it's going to be a son of a bitch, noisy bastard thing. So, one of these glorious ones, as I was saying, where you got to take it apart, and instead of just, okay, I want to get this bit off, and you pull that piece off, and that's it. It's sort of like, you pull that piece off, then you realise you've got a friggin' electrical cable hanging on here, you've got a shitty bit of wire thing for your speedo hanging there, and if you bend the bastard, then your speedo will never be running right, or your fuel mixture will be up the shit for the speed of the engine, and then you've got some other bloody bolt you can't get to that you got to get out, and by the time you attack all these things, you're up shit creek in a barbed wire canoe with one person hanging onto the bloody carburettor while the other person continues to undo all the little hanger-ons that are hanging on. One of these real shit-ass designs, a bit like my lawnmower, except my lawnmower seems to be reasonably reliable, even with this crap design. One of those ones where you don't have a carburettor bowl, your fuel tank is the carburettor bowl, and with my lawnmower, it's actually my grandfather's old lawnmower, a reasonably new lawnmower because he had one stolen and then he bought that in about 2007 or something like that. Anyway, it's the tank is pretty wide but very shallow, and they've got a carburettor on top of that, and then they've got the air cleaner on top of that. With Australian lawnmowers, Victors, that were built here originally, they would have a snorkel right up to where you basically hold on to push it. And then, in the case of my parents' old one, they would actually have a filter in the top of the snorkel up near your hand. Some of the newer ones, which my father didn't like the look of, or some of the different brands or whatever, they had the snorkel but they didn't have the, I forget where we come across it, but there's one with a snorkel but no filter in it, and that was standard, and I think it might have been a new one at a hardware store we're looking at or something like that, or someone else's one we're trying to help them get going or something. But anyway, this one, yeah, great for dusty Australian conditions where the dust all flies up as you mow them. Air filter just on the top of the carburettor. I had troubles getting it going purely because of a blocked filter, and I thought it might be the case with this one, that was what was causing this to give us shit, was a blocked filter. Look, the fuel tank is deeper, and instead of just running straight out of the fuel tank because the fuel tank's shallow enough, they... oh, fuck me. Talk about complicating things that didn't need to be complicated. They have some sort of a vacuum-actuated pump thing, which is a little plastic thing that goes down, and then change, like a little bit of plastic pipe with a little, you know, foot on the end with a little mesh filter on it, and then that turns into a brass pipe, then comes up, and I noticed this in the castings, there's a hole that it comes out to drop out into like a little tiny cup. It's only like about the size of a shot glass, sitting edgeways probably, and that sits in the top of the fuel tank. It's not the actual carburetor bowl, because you can take the carburetor off and that piece is screwed into the actual tank and stays in the tank. But they've got this little foot valve thing that goes down in the bottom of the tank, sucks the fuel up, goes through the casting, the aluminium casting that makes up the bulk of the carburetor, spits it back out right beside the other little piece going down with the jet in it. And it falls into that little bowl, and then it, like that little cup, and then the jet sucks it up from there, and then it goes, in through to the engine. Well, not only was there shit in the bottom of the tank, there was shit in that cup, and in the little foot thing there was shit on the end of the mesh there too. But to top it all off, this little thing is ran by, this little pump thing is ran by a pipe that basically comes from the sump, like a breather pipe, and as the piston keeps moving and you get that suction of the piston going on its compression stroke or its exhaust stroke, that suction comes from the pump into the carburetor, into this little foot valve thing to try and suck the petrol up. And all you need is that sort of that wavering change of vacuum, not vacuum, to sort of draw it all up. Well, lo and behold, we only realised when we took it all off, and I went to wipe that little rubber thing, the bloody thing was cracked to the shit out. It's sucking air through there, which means the damn pump's not working, which is why they had to put fuel in the thing to get it running in the first place. And then, of course, it had created just enough vacuum to keep itself going, even with the hole still there, but it wasn't going to start like that. The complexities of this little piece of shit, we're going to try and get another, what's his name, a gasket kit for it, and hopefully the rubbers are all there in it. But the complexities of this piece of shit, if we can't get it running like that, I might just run the bastard straight off propane. Those of you who don't know all this, it's a very easy method. It's just a simple old hillbilly hack that most Australians have never seen done, but I've seen done quite a number of times on YouTube. And even seen guys doing it with what they shouldn't do, with MAPP gas, which is liable to... If you do it, it's alright for doing it for a little while, but if you do it for too long with MAPP gas, you're likely to melt the fucking engine, especially if it's built like a piece of shit like most things are these days. All you do... Sure, well, the CSR has probably seen this same trick himself. You have a blowtorch. Don't go acetylene, preferably don't go MAPP, but butane's fine, propane's fine, and you turn it on, but you don't light it. You just turn the knob on, and you hold it up against the air cleaner, and then you have someone pull start, and next thing you know, you might have to adjust your knob, and you've got to sort of fiddle around a bit to make sure you got the knob turned up high enough, but you can run the damn things directly off propane, suck through the friggin' air cleaner. Simple as that. And I've got a blowtorch in there. That one I burnt the cardboard house down with, and I've got plenty of these blooming propane bottles. There's one right there, except that one's empty. I've got to get that refilled. It's another one in the laundry. I think I've got to get refilled as well. And yeah, it works. All you got to do is make some sort of a little prop up to hold your blowtorch and know how much you've got to rev it and whatnot, and it mightn't be too stupid an idea to the way the air cleaner is set up on this thing is a bit of a bitch, so you might want to take the air cleaner off to make sure you actually get some propane into the damn thing. Just the way the top's, where air intake is and the way it's all set up. Going to be a bit hard to do that unless I just undo 2 screws and take the air cleaner out. And that may be what it comes down to. All wood gas running through a gas bag system, which, you know, they had big ones on cars that would take cars a few miles, and that's, you know, we're talking 250 cubic inch engine, and you look at this thing, and it's just a little 5 horsepower banger, you know, can't take that much to run, but I'm not too sure. I'm probably going to use it to water the plants and whatnot. Silver beet, if I have a big heap like half an acre, you're going to have a proper irrigation system running. So I'm probably going to have to use it on a more regular basis than just filling the IBCs. But if I was just filling the IBCs one time, I'd just run it directly off propane, because it'd be, you know, easy enough because you're only doing it once. But anyway, there you go.